item 27, the implementation of live music and after dark strategies, planning certificate.
Lord Mayor, thank you. I wanted to bring this back to the council for discussion, and this item really is for us to look at and move forward the implementation of decisions already made by the selected council, parts of the live music and after dark strategies, and that being the recommendation that we have a look at the way that we may be able to utilise planning certificate information to better inform people, touching on the issue that we've just been discussing. And my motion here is that the City of Newcastle note the outcomes of the endorsed live music strategy and after dark strategy, with particular note to the support of Newcastle's live music industry. That City of Newcastle acknowledge the importance of growing the city's nighttime economy, and that Council receive a report at the next ordinary meeting to provide a detailed update of the progress of the implementation of Action 2 of the live music strategy, that being develop a suite of planning controls to reduce the risk of land use conflict, including notification in the Section 10.7 planning certificates. These two strategies have been introduced and supported in the chamber and by council over the last couple of years. And I note that staff have been doing a lot of work on some difficult aspects of that, including noise mapping in the city. But I also wanted to point out, and we all know this, that what we have seen through COVID is the absolute devastation of an industry and a very, very significant part of this city's economy, and that is our nighttime economy. Just prior to COVID, our nighttime economy here in the City of Newcastle was valued at $1.6 billion and just over 13,000 jobs. This has been absolutely devastated by this pandemic. According to the 2019 report commissioned by the Council of Capital City Lord Mayors, the City of Newcastle's nighttime economy in that financial year 17-18 had that turnover of just shy of $16 billion and employed 13,280 people, or 13.7% of our total workforce. This pandemic has had an extreme impact on this sector, a sector that was already suffering. Expenditure data from SpendMap, which the City of Newcastle actually uses to aprocommission information, has reported that the difference between expenditure patterns in this city between April last year and April this year saw a reduction of some 73% between the corresponding time this year and last year. I think I'm right on that. No, sorry, 63%. So it was 36.6% of the April 2019 total. There are so many issues in here, and they are being worked on very hard here in the City of Newcastle, but also by the New South Wales Live Music Task Force. For example, here are some of the things that we have to try to deal with in supporting a live music industry. In New South Wales, there are 7 different bureaucracies who are in charge of regulating noise. It makes it pretty hard for any one of us when we get an email from someone who has a noise complaint. Some of the bizarre and absurd restrictions that have been placed on venues in New South Wales over the past 36 years include bans or restrictions on dancing and rock music, also on disco and pop music, DJs, live music, 3-piece bands, 4-piece bands, singer-songwriters, the bass guitar, vinyl records, bands facing a direction other than south, and mirror balls. My local pub, and of course I will recuse myself if they ever come in for a DA item, they have been working at 25% capacity. That is unsustainable for any business, particularly in our hospitality industry, who support the live music industry. Some of the issues that are being worked on are at a state parliament level, and that includes the trial of venues at the Rocks. And it would be terrific to see if perhaps we could have some of that trial extended to outside the Rocks to the City of Newcastle. We would make a wonderful pilot and trial zone. We have some issues that simply can't be resolved because we are not the authority that has the delegation to deal with them. Importantly, the CBD of Australia's 7th largest city is not now and never has been a dormitory suburb, and nor should it be. However, the work and the effort to ensure good outcomes for residents, for developers, for performers, for small businesses and allied suppliers is essential, and the work that we are doing here in the City of Newcastle is very complementary to the work of the New South Wales Live Music Office. And between us all, I look forward to having a live music future, or a future here in Newcastle that offers that as a serious creative industry opportunity for this city once again. This document has also been shared by New South Wales Labor. I think regardless of the partisan nature of it, it actually contains some really valuable information about the after dark economy work and problems more broadly across New South Wales. And if anybody is interested in that, I'm happy to give you a copy of that. But I would commend that notice of motion and ask for support of the councillors. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor. I'll just open it up for further discussion. Is there any further discussion in chambers? I'm not sure if you need to hear from me, Councillor Duncan, but we've discussed this on many occasions, and the implementation of Action 2 in a live music strategy that has been duly adopted by this council. I think looking at those conflicts around those land uses and making sure the communication is very clear around the principles of agent of change is a vital addition to planning certificates here in the City of Newcastle. It is and goes to almost our last discussion around community engagement and consultation and participation. I think you can't communicate too much, and I think it's really important when people are looking at new properties, for example, that they understand if those new properties are located next to operating live music venues, that is part of the decision-making process. It is, as Councillor Duncan said, the CBD of Newcastle is not a dormitory suburb. It never has, and hopefully it never will be. And I think the clearer we are in those communications and those planning controls, which goes to the substance of this notice of motion, the better that all parties will be. I think that there is a way to go, and a number of those recommendations in that policy document that Councillor Duncan has referred to are going to be important changes that both need to work in collaboration at a state level and also a local government level. If there's no further discussion, would you like a right of reply, Councillor?
Lord Mayor, yes, thank you. I am well aware that there will be an attempt by some to perhaps pitch me and the live music industry as being against the residents. And I think it's really important to very clearly state that that is absolutely not true. The aim of these strategies, and these strategies endorsed by this council around 2 years ago, are incredibly important parts of getting the balance right. We need to get the balance right to respect our residents, their right to enjoy their lives, the right of business operators to operate, the rights of musicians to perform and to play, the rights of allied businesses to support them in providing their services. And I think when we bog this discussion down in amplified rock music, we do everybody a terrible disservice, because this is very broadly about our nighttime economy and about being the sort of city that supports jobs and creativity and a healthy community. And that I'm very happy to endorse.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll put the motion as moved and seconded. All those in favour, please raise your hand. All those against, as there are no votes against, I declare that motion carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors.